Hi there. This is not the video I planned to make today, nor is it a video I ever thought I was going to make. But given what's happened in the last 24 hours, I really felt that I needed to say something. I just found out an hour ago, even though this happened yesterday, the Chief of Naval Research, Admiral Rothenhouse, was no longer the Chief of Naval Research. He was replaced by a 33-year-old consultant to lead the Office of Naval Research. I'm not going to judge one way or the other whether that's a good idea. On paper, it seems kind of strange at best. So a little bit about my background. A month ago, on October 1st, I officially retired from the Office of Naval Research. I've spent 40 years with the Navy and Marine Corps as a civilian engineer, first as a flight tester, but then I migrated into various jobs. The last 23 years, since 2002, I first started as a science advisor for the Marine Corps, then a science advisor for the Navy, and then led the science advisor program. And then I led the Future Naval Capabilities and Innovative Naval Prototypes portfolios at Office of Naval Research. So for the past 23 years, I have dedicated my life to this organization. I worked with and for Admiral Rothenhouse. His office was just down the hallway from mine on the 14th floor of ONR, which was really the 13th floor because we didn't have a 13th floor. So it went, if you went in the elevator, it went from 12 to 14, which is kind of strange to begin with. But that's another story. How do I feel about this? When President Trump was elected, around the January, February timeframe, I was getting a sense that there was change in the air. Admiral Rothenhouse has been there since June of 23. He actually stopped by my office. We had a chat, and one of the things I talked about was, hey, how do you think ONR is going to be impacted by President Trump getting into office? He knew there was going to be some changes, and we ended up losing over 100 people. So how do I feel about this? Admiral Rothenhouse was the first Chief of Naval Research that had a PhD. He's a very smart guy, and he, like all other people before him, was there to do the job and to do it to the best of his abilities. Technology has changed. The Office of Naval Research was working through what that meant and how they were going to move on in the future. Now that you have a 33-year-old consultant in there, and I don't know this person personally, it's going to change. And whether or not the Office of Naval Research even survives is in question. Now, is that a good or bad thing? I just think it's a thing. The Office of Naval Research started out right after World War II, but the focus of the Office of Naval Research, just kind of like DARPA, which is right down the road, was and is, who knows, is to develop technology for the Naval and Marine Corps warfighters. And we've done some incredible things. There's people that say, oh, the railgun. You'll see the railgun all over YouTube and the internet. Had some dealings with that towards the end of that project. I've been working with artificial intelligence and robotics and autonomy for about 10 years now with the Office of Naval Research. And a lot of great things happened with this organization. The question becomes, what's it going to be now? Having retired a month ago, I guess I got the timing right. There's been people since the very existence of Office of Naval Research that question whether or not it should exist or whether or not it's still relevant. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but I will tell you that there's a lot of great people that work there, and they're trying to do what's best for all the sailors and Marines out there in the fleet. Science and technology is not one of those things that just kind of happens. If you look at the progression of things, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of basic and applied research that occurs before you actually see it. It's kind of in the primordial ooze stage where a lot of decisions are made and great things are happening. And you develop things not only as a method of defending the sailors and Marines out there and ultimately our country, you also are figuring out through the development how to counter those things from our adversaries, our peers, And who could that be? Well, there's two major peers out there. Russia and China are trying to do the same things we do. It's kind of good to know what the realm of the possible is, both from an offense and a defense. If you see where this consultant went before this and the changes they made there, there's a 50-50 chance that Office of Naval Research will survive. But whether it survives or not, the mission of what needs to be done, the basic science and technology, and evolving that into something that's tangible and meaningful and that can actually be deployed in the fleet and forces is absolutely critical. Somebody has to do that. And somebody has to be the steward of the taxpayers' money. You just can't hand it over to contractors and let them do everything. You need somebody that's kind of checking things out and making sure that everything is done correctly. There is a whole bunch of stories out there where contractors have done things that are spectacular on their own. And there's others where they kind of either messed things up or they weren't held accountable, and a lot of money, I mean a lot of money, billions of dollars of money has been spent on projects. Had somebody not been keeping eyes on the technology, who knows where it would have gone. I've dedicated the last 23 years, well, until October 1st, which was literally 30 days ago, to this organization. And I've served half a dozen chiefs of naval research. And I've seen organizations shut down. I just hope we're doing the right thing here and for the right reasons. It's going to be an interesting time, and I'll probably do some follow-on videos, both about my personal experiences, because I learned a lot. I've done a lot of things at the Office of Naval Research. I just wanted to get this video out because I was just absolutely flabbergasted that this actually happened. And I think time will tell whether this was a good decision or a not so good decision. What do you think? Post your comments and thoughts below. Really curious to see what others think about what just happened and whether or not that's a good thing or we're going to regret this. Who knows?